Okay, so here we are. Let's try to go through them relatively quickly because we're a little bit behind schedule. The first one, I think, is much more general question. How do we convince householders that investing in a deep energy efficient upgrade is as attractive as purchasing a new kitchen? I think this is one of the things that we want to achieve in this case, if I understand correctly. Martin and Tina, you're both unmuted now, and you can reply depending if you think it's relevant.
Yeah, maybe I can say something. I can take the second question immediately as well to win some time. But I think the first one is a golden question asked over and over again, of course, in this context. But I think the possibility of this renovation passport is that we really can show the households or the building owner what is in it for them. And later on in one of the presentations of Felix, you will see that what is the interest of or reasons why people renovate their buildings. And most of the participants of this webinar probably are on the energy field, and I think there is another world outside there. So for building owners, it is on much more than just energy saving. So we really have to state clearly what is in it for them. On the second question, I mentioned a period of 15 to 20 years, but that is of course directly linked to the concrete situation, the individual context of the family, of course. If they foresee to do the works in these 10 years, it has to be adapted to that. But there, I'm quite sure that the presentation from Martin Pent will give some clearance on that as well. And then there was we'll maybe just continue on the question.
Yeah, I think it's the best.
On the level of costs, I will also maybe tackle, and then I leave the floor to Tina. This cost is the same as again, what is in it for me, but at the same time, I think it's absolutely a need that it stays a voluntary scheme, but voluntary, how voluntary in the sense that to have subsidy schemes or support mechanisms that they should be linked to this long-term vision. Because that's a little bit the problem if you have subsidy schemes based on single measures, then you actually create a lock-in effect. So I think that's a very important driver to link your support schemes with that. And I'm a very strong believer in other or adapted financing schemes, and I'm thinking about revolving funds or even aggregated group purchases or this kind of approaches. Tina or Alexander, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I agree. We should think more about bonuses on the renovation strategy as well, and district renovations. That there is a huge market to instead of the individual bonuses on selected works. So, but in Flanders we work on it. But the thing of having new financial schemes, it's a very difficult track to think about those things.
Okay. Yeah. Perhaps a couple of more general questions. Many buildings consume more than what was planned. Why is that? Is there a technical or behavioral reason behind this?
Yeah, maybe a small word on that, because I think the case what I show is very it's a very good case because it's 82 buildings, and of course if there's a difference between the calculated and the real energy consumption, it might be an issue in the calculation method. But if you have 80 cases, you really can look on what are the behavioral aspects, and I really believe in a monitoring of your energy consumption and if possible direct monitoring that really warns you as a building user when there are things not going correct, when your heating system is not working correct, and so on. And if I maybe go directly to the question of the UK Green Deal, so there the question is if we can learn lessons from the failure of the UK Green Deal. I think the UK Green Deal had some very interesting aspects, and so I want to be careful of throwing out the baby with the bathwater, but as I understand, the Green Deal especially failed because the interest rate offered under this deal was much higher than the interest rate from the private banks. So that was an aspect that made it completely fail. aspect of linking your loan to the building as such, I personally find a very interesting case, and that fits more under these new financial initiatives. But unfortunately, this mistake of the high interest rate made it all fail, I think. That's it for now.
Okay. It's fine. Let's move to Flanders then. A specific question here. The Renovation Pact, who are the parties in the pact and what are the incentives for the parties to enter into the pact?
Yes, but the Renovation Pact, it's really an action plan with different actions, and one of these actions is the Renovation Passports. Another action is the Renovation Roadmap. There are actions on financial systems and so on. So the parties in the pact that are different organizations who defend the interests of architects, contractors, families, energy suppliers, but also organizations or of the industry. But the incentive for to enter into the pact is just the fact that we believe in the need to upgrade the energy performance, and because there are organizations who defend the interests of the different partners, they sign into the pact. The other thing is the building passport. There we have 4 entities of the government who sign in on the other pact, the building passports, and we just feel that we should do something together with different entities to give them an overview of the information. So what's in it for us? It's just that we feel like we have to come out as one government instead of different regional entities. And maybe
that sounds quite reasonable. And indeed, if you can follow up also on the question of funding this development.
So the light and the medium version, we have the agreement on the 4 entities, and we are with our entities. We fund the development of the building passport, so the light and the medium version. So we will do those efforts for it. But for the coming up version, so the full version and so on, we want to think about a kind of a partner management where other partners, but it can be regional authorities, but it can be industry as well, or organizations who certificate some aspects of a dwelling, such as water or electricity, that they can add information onto the platform in order, for giving some budget for the maintenance and the extra information on the building passport. So we hope that maybe by creating the building passport as an open system, maybe IMO sites or other organizations who work on smart meters, on energy use, rather than the theoretical energy use, the realistic energy use, will share budgets to enrich the building passports.
Very good. Okay, and one final more general question, and then we will move on to the next speaker and continue taking questions, of course, also for the first unit. The building passport. Who is responsible if data in it is incorrect, assuming also that there may be several sources?
Yeah, we have several sources we connect into the building passport, so each entity is responsible for the information that is shown. But if the information is from a source, from a certain certificate, the person who made up the certificate is responsible for delivering that kind of information. So, but at the first step, we only publish information that the government knows about your property, but in later versions you can add more information, and then the person who adds the information is responsible for the correctness. But we will have a separate thing about information who is private and who is added, enriched by the owners and who can be incorrect, and information that's from the government or from certain certificates.
And this is also legally, is there an aspect of legal liability in this respect, in these different kinds of data?
What does that entail, legal liability? Yes, because behind every data you have like a legal basis by collecting it. So if we, I do not know if I understand the question really correct.
Well, if maybe I can add, I think you have to see this logbook really as an inventory of existing information, of course.
Yep.
So the legal responsibilities is where the original information comes from. Basically, the same as having all your prints out at home in your closet. Who is responsible for the correctness of this? This is just a digital way of collecting and having it available.
Yeah, thank you, Martin.
Okay, very well. Thank you both for helping in answering the questions in the limited time. And I will now give the floor directly to Martin Pent from IFOI, the Institute for Energy and Environmental Research. Martin, the floor is yours. You should be able to go to Quick Start and share your screen. And